Worser.
That's right, worser.
This is the worst of the wall here, and you can just see from the door, and you can see how that's tight right there, and then you have probably inch and a half right here at the top where that's bowed in, and then of course it's cracked right there. But then when you come back here, you're looking at the same thing again, and this is really not that offset. So this would be where one of my anchors would go, and then probably just in front of the step, and then probably right in the corner. Like I said, I'd have to measure those out, but I'm gonna make sure I put one here and there, and then I'll split the difference with the one in the middle. That will help hold the wall. It could bring it back. I don't guarantee that at all, but I mean over time.
As far as being able to pull the wall back out to where it probably was originally, there's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee of that.
But there'll be like a nut on the inside that we can torque down.
That we can torque down in summer.
And help to pull
dry
back.
spells when it's wet.
Because why don't you explain what it is that you put in there, the dead man that you described to me?
It is an anchor. We would come in here, and this is basically where the crest of the bow is.
Yeah.
So we would come in here and drill, and it's a 3/4 inch hole, then or an inch hole. Then we take a 3/4 inch rod, a zinc rod, drive that through the ground outside. Then you go whatever the distance of your rod is, go find the end of it, put a plate outside, concrete that. You got to dig a hole, and then find the plate. Find the rod, put the plate on, put the concrete in, then once that's cured, you come back, you put another plate in here, and then take the nut, put the pressure on there, usually about 80 pounds, you know, with a torque wrench, about 80 pounds to 100 pounds of pressure, just depending on what the wall will allow.
So it pulls on the wall.
So now you have a firm brace and an anchoring system out there, so that's why I say the wall's not going to come any further. Will it straighten up some? Yes. How much? I cannot tell you. I mean, because you don't know, I don't know how long it's been there, I don't know what kind of debris is in that crack, and then you go to try to force something, you go back with something wedged in between it doesn't want to very well.
So it's not going to get any worse because we're holding it, and there's the opportunity that we may be able to pull it back over time. Okay.
And then as far as the waterproofing, what I'll be doing is coming in, and about a foot out from the wall, I'll be removing the concrete. I will then dig down beside the footing, because just like we said before, your block has the two cavities. They're all in a column right there, like a cylinder. Okay. When you have rain like we've had, you have a water table that saturates the ground table, and that will raise the water level. The first place it starts putting pressure on is right here where the block sits on top of the footer, because there's no bond. When they build in 3 steps. One's foundation, second is either pour a block of wall, and then you pour the floor and tie it all together. So each time that they started and stopped, you have a co-joint here, and you have a co-joint where the floor meets the wall. And the water will either come in here and build up here, till it forces, through hydrostatic pressure, it forces it out to where you see it. So we're going to go into here, we're going to get below this point, so now that we've taken the pressure off this point, we're going to drill these. And like I was telling him earlier, it's about a 1/2 inch hole, they'll be under the ground. But that's just going to vent that block. So any moisture that builds up in the block will then have a place to drain. If for some reason you had an outside source, even, you know, and the water was trickling down,
a hose, left your hose on or something.
It's still going to go to the bottom of that core and still going to come in. So I'm going to still catch it either way. So that wall's now going to stay dry.
Okay.
And then with the 4-inch pipe, we are looking at putting a sump pump back in the corner for the reservoir to drain all the water to. And then we'll be starting in this corner and taking everything with the 4-inch pipe, slanting it that way, dump it into the sump pump. At that point, you have on the outside you have a downspout that runs away from the house. We can just tie right into that downspout, let it go out with the rest of the gutter water.
That corner.
And then I put rock back, pour the concrete right back. You won't even be able to tell it. I mean, you'll be able to see a difference in the color of the concrete. Other than that, you won't be able to tell it.
Can you cover one more time over here how you were saying the plaster gets wet and
from the moisture holding in the block, and this plaster is not being able to stick onto the wall. And you can see, like right here, it looks like it's an inch and a half gap, but if you really look, it's just a void back there, and that's the actual wall in the crack, which is open, but no more than 1/8 of an inch difference. I wouldn't think. It's pretty much flush. But yeah, all this is just, see, that wall's not nearly as bad as it looks. with this. With this, you would think you'd have a bowl about 1 inch, 1.5 inches, but
It's not as bad as the plaster makes it.
no,
appear.
sir, it is not.
And then
Not at all.
there would be, you mentioned 2 dead men, or that's,
Two of the dead man anchors, the same one
The
we're going to
anchors.
install over there, will go here as a precautionary measure because that bush is what, right in here?
yeah, the bushes outside, that little tree is on the side of the house.
And has bowed the wall just a little bit
Okay.
right there, so we're going to take that precaution. Like I said, it's not tremendously bad, but we'll put a couple in there just to make sure.
Okay. And then on the back wall,
Back wall, much the same, and
it appeared really bowed, but
before you can see out here, and you can see that looks like it's bowed, I don't know, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches.
yeah.
But once you take this off, it's pretty flush. I mean, there's a little difference right there you can feel with your finger, but as far as a real difference, no. I mean, is it cracked? Yes. And I will treat that, but it's not as bad as it looks. Like I say, I mean, I can stick my hand up there.
And what were you gonna put in here?
And here, there'll be an I-beam that anchors into the top joist.
Okay.
And then when we take and remove the concrete, that will sit on top of the footer, and then all this gets concreted back.
So it's floor to ceiling.
Floor to ceiling, yes sir.
Okay.
And anchors into both the floor and the concrete and into the rafters at the top.
Okay. So that takes care of all the foundation work, and then the right, we had
Yeah, see, that's
3 on the front wall, 2 on the
just
side
hanging
wall.
there. I mean, I could, if I wanted to, I could bring that on off.
Yep. Okay.
But it's just years from people putting this on there, and then moisture gets back there, and then it's going to find a way, and then you see it, and then after the years, it just constantly just pushes and pushes. But it's really a good house. It's not that bad.
Say that again. I cut you off there.
All this is cosmetic. You can hear it. It's hollow. And you go down here, and you can see that's not bad at all. See, that looks like that was cracked all the way through there. And actually, I don't even see a crack.
Like that drywall that got wet upstairs behind.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.